Konnichiwa, Paradise Panther artists. My name is Mrs. Telfer, and today we will be learning about our next master artist, Katsushika Hokusai. He was born in 1760 in what is now the city of Tokyo, Japan. He was a Japanese artist, painter, and printmaker who is best known for his 36 views of Mount Fuji. So, ikimashou, which means let's go in Japanese. I bet most of you have three names: a first name, a middle name, and a last name. If you have a nickname, perhaps then you could add one more to make a total of 4 names. You will be surprised to know that our master artist kept changing his name throughout his life. You will not believe how many different names he was known by. He had 30 names, and no one knows why. Changing one's name was a Japanese custom, but he carried it to an extreme. Perhaps he liked new things, or maybe he wanted to draw attention to himself. The one name that he kept longer than most was Hokusai, which means star of the northern constellation. Not only did he keep changing his name, he also kept changing where he lived. One of the names he chose means tired of living in the same house. Hokusai actually moved nearly 100 times during his lifetime. Here is Hokusai's self-portrait as an older man, but he started very young as an artist. When he was first given a brush to write in Japan, he immediately started drawing everything he saw. He would draw on anything he could find. He drew on scraps of rice paper, on pebbles, and even on shavings of wood. He even used the whiskers of a mouse as a tiny paintbrush. He once wrote, "From the age of 6, I had a madness for drawing the form of things." His family was very poor, and custom was that only a rich prince was permitted to be an artist. Hokusai was far from being a prince. It took money to go to the special schools to learn brush painting. It took money to buy the special stamps needed to sign your work. But Hokusai didn't know where he would get that kind of money. Hokusai was determined to be an artist, so he worked anywhere he could and saved every bit of money he earned. He even starved himself to pay for his school bills. As soon as possible, he started selling his artwork to support himself. He drew pictures for calendars. He wrote scary stories and illustrated them. Without using your voice, give me a thumbs up if you like comic books or graphic novels. Give me a thumbs down if you don't. Thank you. You can put your hands away now. Hokusai drew and wrote hundreds of little comic books. Next, let's find out where Hokusai lived. Hokusai spent his life showing the beautiful landscapes of his native country of Japan, and also painting something other artists had avoided: the everyday scenes of life. Other artists were only showing the lives of wealthy and powerful people. Look at where Japan is on a map. Japan is an island surrounded by water. Hokusai's most famous painting really shows off the coastal waters in a very dramatic way. This is titled The Great Wave. It looks dangerous. I don't think I would like to be here in a boat. Here we see 3 boats. One boat right here, another boat here, and the 3rd boat here. What gives action to this exciting picture is the curvy, nervous lines of the wave. Also, how the boats are at an angle, and there is a lot of overlapping. What balances this huge crashing wave is the empty space and the curve of the wave on the opposite side. Hokusai loved to show water in motion. The foam of the wave is breaking into claws, which grasp for the fishermen. The shape in the middle, in the background, is the famous Mount Fuji, Japan's tallest mountain. Now I want you to look carefully at this picture and decide, is it a painting or a drawing? Without using your voice, raise your hand if you think it is a painting. Thank you. You can put your hands down now. Now, raising a quiet hand if you think it is a drawing. Thank you. You can put your hands down now. You are correct if you guessed that it was a drawing. It was not painted on a canvas with brushes and oil paints. But instead of drawing on paper, Hokusai drew all the lines on a flat piece of wood that was sanded smooth. After Hokusai was finished with his drawing of all the black lines, the wood block was then taken to the printer, who used special sharp tools to cut away all the white wood, leaving only the black lines. Ink was then rolled over the lines, and then the block was pressed against paper to make a print. If you have ever used a rubber stamp to decorate your papers, then you know that just like a stamp, the wood block could be used over and over again to make hundreds of prints just by adding more ink to the block. Japanese artists like Hokusai were the first to make prints in multiple colors. They used a new wood block each time they added a new color to the print. These pictures of the Great Wave look a little different than the first one we saw. These are funny versions done by other artists. This is not only Hokusai's most famous artwork, but it's the most recognized of all Japanese art. Now, let's return to the real art of our master artist. I wonder if we will see water or mountains again. Here we see Mount Fuji again in the background, but we also see a big shape in the front or the foreground. It is a pine tree. If we look carefully at the base of the tree, we can see 3 little men. They are encircling the tree or trying to climb the tree. That gives us a feeling of just how giant this tree is when we look at the men. The men are tree cutters, and they're using their arms to measure and figure out how many hours it will take to cut down the tree. Now, let's turn our attention to color. Hokusai used simple shapes and simple limited colors. Without using your voice, show me with your fingers how many colors you can count in this artwork. I'll give you a hint. Black and white do not count as colors. They are shades of color. So go ahead and show 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 fingers to show how many colors you see here. Yes, there are 3 colors in this painting: blue, green, and yellow. Thank you. You can put your hands down now. Next, let's notice the use of simple shapes. Something shaped like a triangle is the mountain. Something shaped like a cylinder is the tree. And something shaped like a circle is the clouds. We also see lots of empty space, as we saw in the Great Wave. That balances the tree and the mountain. In art, we call that empty space negative space. When Hokusai was a small child, he learned to write with a brush. After he could paint his letters well, this is what he was taught to paint next. This is a painting of a bamboo plant. When Hokusai studied art, bamboo is what he painted for practice. He was taught a special brushstroke for each part of the plant. Let's take a closer look at these special brushstrokes. First, there is a special brushstroke for the stalk. Notice how the stalk is in sections. The artist has to stop his brush to show each section. Painting is always done on a flat surface, like a floor or a table, not at an easel. Your school desks and tables will be just right for your bamboo painting. Next, let's look at the thin branches and pointed leaves. Branches only grow from the joints that connect each section, and they alternate from side to side. To get the leaves pointed and graceful looking, a special stroke is learned. Notice how some leaves are darker than others. The artist used black ink for his color. The amount of water mixed with black creates different shades. Once students master painting with black ink, then they can start using colors. For Asian people, the bamboo plant is more than just a pretty thing to paint. It is an important part of their lives. It is used to build houses and furniture, and also for food. Isn't it special that something so pretty can be so useful? You are going to be an artist just like Hokusai and learn to paint a beautiful bamboo plant. We've looked closely at the bamboo. Now I want to direct your attention to the Asian writing. Chinese words are written with special signs called characters, like you see here. It is very difficult to learn all of them because there are over 40,000 Chinese characters. To be able to read a newspaper, a person must learn 8,000 signs. And we only need to learn 26 letters in the English alphabet. Calligraphy is beautiful, graceful writing with thick and thin lines. The materials used for calligraphy are the same as those used for brush painting. Look carefully at the calligraphy you see in this picture. When you see calligraphy within Asian paintings, it is usually for identification of the artist. It tells the artist's name, birthplace, his school, his address. It may be announcing a special occasion, such as a birthday or a holiday. I think it adds to the beauty of the artwork. If you were a Japanese or Chinese student, you would learn all the characters before you were allowed to paint pictures. The characters are painted with a brush using black ink. You are going to be an artist just like Hokusai and learn to paint a beautiful bamboo plant. Hokusai signed his 30 different names to his paintings. On Hokusai's gravestone, his last name translated to "Old Man Crazy About Art." He died at age 89, painting until his last breath. Great job today, artists, as we discovered why Hokusai is considered to be one of Japan's most beloved and inventive artists. Next, in your art activity, you will get to try a bamboo branch painting of your own, using special brush strokes on white paper with black ink. I look forward to seeing you next time, Paradise Panther artists. Sayonara.